Basic Blueprint Reading for Welders, Chapter 3, Visualization, Part 1. Gary Pace, P.E., CWI, TexasWeldingEngineering.com. Basic Blueprint Reading by Ric Costin. This book is an entry-level book written for the first-year welding student. It was put together out in Oregon in the community college system. It's an open-source book. I don't think there's any copyright from it involved with it from what I've read on their website. You can find it at openoregon.pressbooks.pub.blueprint, well, with some backslashes. Anyways, if you just Google Basic Blueprint Reading Open Oregon, it'll take you there. We're going to cover Chapter 3, Visualization, Part 1. Here's what we're going to cover today. We're going to cover perspective, oblique drawings, and isometric drawings. That's it. We're just going to kind of dip our toe into the different perspectives and kind of the way that we represent drawings on a piece of paper. So we're trying to take a three-dimensional object and then put it onto a two-dimensional piece of paper and then have it show up. So that's what we're looking at, and that's what we're trying to explain, and that's probably one of the most difficult things for people to learn is how to visualize what you're building by looking at a drawing and then being able to translate it into go 2D to 3D and pull off dimensions off the prints and find other information. So visualization. Now that you have learned about the different kinds of lines found on prints, the next step is to develop your visualization abilities, the ability to see technical drawings. So that's the ability to think in 3 dimensions. This is the most important part of this course. Since most engineering and architectural prints utilize some form of orthographic projection, which is a multi-view drawing, that type of drawing will be emphasized. Visualization. Before going into a study of orthographic projection, you should be able to recognize several other types of drawings. They are perspective drawing, oblique drawing, and isometric drawing. As a group, they are called pictorial drawings. They are found on prints and are easy to visualize, so let's look at their differences. Perspective. Perspective is the most realistic form of drawing. Artists use 1-point perspective, 2-point, which is shown in the next slide, or 3-point to create a visual depth. Perspectives are used by architects and for industrial pictorials of plan layouts, machinery, and other subjects where realism is required. Objects drawn in perspective grow smaller as they recede to the horizon. So a perspective view is a view of an object, and then it's kind of realistic because the further you look into the page, the smaller the parts get. So here's a perspective view. You can see on the horizon, we've got a vanishing point. And here's a 2-point perspective because we've got 2 different vanishing points on that horizon. So they've drawn this block in such a way that it gets smaller the further away you go. So this is called a perspective view. Oblique drawings are drawn with one plane, the front, of the object parallel to the drawing surface. The side or other visible part of the object is generally drawn at a 30 or a 45. So the front would be the yellow face. We're looking just straight on at that face or that plane. You can see the other visible face I've outlined there in pink. It's drawn at a 45 or a 30-degree angle. Many times these types of drawings are not drawn to scale. The receding lines are drawn at a 45 and a 30 or a 30 and will be drawn at different scale as the vertical and horizontal lines. This makes the drawing seem out of shape. This type of drawing is not used very often in industry. This is an oblique drawing. You can see that we're just looking at that one face and then it's parallel to the piece of paper. The other face is at a 30 or a 45-degree angle. So here I've compared an oblique drawing with an isometric drawing. So an oblique drawing, which was the previous slide, we're just looking straight on at that yellow face. And our pink face over there is at a 30 or a 45-degree angle. Well, the difference is with an isometric drawing, we're looking at the corner of the drawing. The corner of the block, excuse me. We're looking at the corner of the block, and then both faces, the green face and the blue face, are drawn at 30-degree angles. So for an oblique drawing, we're looking directly at a face, and for an isometric drawing, we're looking at a corner. So there's going to be a bunch of questions about these. So if you're looking at a corner, it's an isometric. If you're looking at a face, it's an oblique drawing. So that's the difference between the two. So here's an isometric drawing. Isometric drawings have less distortions than oblique drawings and are used more frequently by industry for that reason. An isometric drawing has both visible surfaces drawn at 30 degrees. So that would be the green and the blue faces. These are the most used type of drawings in the piping industry and take a good deal of practice to fully understand how to read and to draw. They best represent what is being built and what it will look like from the different sides with one drawing. So this is an isometric. We're just looking at the corner. If the two faces are drawn at a 30-degree angle, that's an isometric. If we're looking at it straight on, it's an oblique. You can see this is an isometric. There's a ton of questions in the homework where we're picking out isometric or oblique drawings. All right, we covered perspective, oblique drawing, isometric drawings. If you got any questions, you guys know how to contact me. All right, take care.